All right. If you guys can hear me, I'm gonna.
Season of SEP3.
You got to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 359 of Sports on the Hill podcast. It's a very exciting night. We had a perfect Capitals week last week, which we'll break down. We have Gil on live, who got to go to one of those games. We also have the Capitals in Dallas right now. They are up 1-0 over the Stars, which is a thing that never happens in Dallas. So we hope that this podcast won't jinx them too much. But a good start in the first period. Dallas is out shooting them 11-9. There was just a breakaway that was thwarted by was it Lindgren?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
And then there was one that was just off the post.
Right, yeah, by our guys, it was just off the post there. So it's a back and forth affair here. It's been exciting. There's two Monday night football games going on simultaneously. The Raiders are playing the Falcons. The Falcons are up 7-0. So I'm sure Marcus is happy about that. And we've also got the other game going on. We got the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears have already been eliminated from the playoffs. So it is expected that the Vikings will definitely win this one. They're up 10-0 in the it's about to be halftime in that game. And in the Falcons Raiders game, it's just started the second quarter, so it's like a delayed start thing going on that side. Again, we're in the second period of this Caps game, 15:59 on my time here. We've got a lot of exciting things to break down.
It was McMichael off the post.
Oh, it was McMichael off the post. Yeah, we're watching the
Yeah.
replay here of an earlier one. Oh, he had him beat too.
Yes.
And so he picked a corner and he picked correct, but unfortunately off the post and out. But 15 goals on the season, 12 assists, 7 points in the last 7 games for Connor McMichael. So the faceoff is now at center here in the second period. It's rare. Usually we're talking about the first period or the third period in a game. It's rare to get to talk about a second period of a game live. So I want to thank everybody for being on with me. Lots of people are joining us over on Twitch, and I already see that some people are joining us on Facebook as well. Thank you, Troy, for doing that. And so welcome on in to Andy and Tina, Sith Lord, who's going to be joining us later, and Dan will be talking about the Commanders, and they eked out a victory in that one against New Orleans. So we'll talk about that in hour 2. It's going to be a shorter 2-hour podcast tonight. We'll also, at the end of that segment, talk wrestling. It was the return of Saturday Night Wrestling on NBC, which I thought was kind of cool. We'll talk about that with him and with Champ as well. So it is the last stream of the year. It's the fall season finale here with episode 359. So 360 will be our winter season premiere on the flip side of the new year. So I take 2 weeks off. I'm heading to Grand Cayman on Saturday. I'm excited. It's cool because we do get satellite TV. I will get to still watch the Capitals games, but I am not going to broadcast from Grand Cayman. But I'm looking forward to that and the new year. And Low Base Guy is also in chat as well. And Peter the Modding Mod is joining us as well. I don't know if he's finally fallen asleep. It is 2 in the morning his time, but he was our biggest donor last podcast, and big shout out to him for all of the support of the show. And thank you everybody for being with us tonight. We're gonna go back in time as we're watching this live Caps game. I'm gonna share the screen here. If I give myself permission. But with that, I'm going to actually bring in our co-host. First, Blue Liner on point himself. Gil, how are you doing tonight?
Howdy, Robbie.
I love it. So if people haven't figured it out, we're playing Dallas. So he's wearing some stars on his head. So I appreciate the he's the Capitals cowboy, if you will. And C4 is joining us as well. How are you doing, Cheryl?
I'm doing good. Much better than it was a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a rough week. I had people I mentioned it in the chat earlier, but I had the worst stomach bug this weekend. It knocked me out for almost 2 days. And I had a big time sinus infection, which I'm still fighting. And we just missed a golden opportunity there. It's still 1-0.
You sound great, Robbie. You got a lot of energy. I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Yeah.
I slept for
Sound a lot better than me.
I slept for 20 hours yesterday and then took the day off of work today. So that helps. For sure. And wow, 3-year subiversary for DC's People's Champ. So Champ will be joining us at the top of the
Nice.
hour.
Nice.
Thank you for the 3 years of subbage. That's amazing. And thank you. Yeah, I definitely am on the mend. I just got to get rid of the sinus infection, but at least my stomach thing is gone and I'm surviving. So, and you got it 7-3 in this Falcons game. Falcons over the Raiders, and it's 10-0 with the Minnesota, who are in the red zone, 10-0 with 12 seconds left in it here. So lots of fun stuff to break down. I think I got the share screen working now, which is good. And then
There we go.
There we go. And then we're going to do hockey stats, and we're going to do that. And now we're live with hockey stats with everybody. So let me just make sure that these all loaded in correctly. No, they did not. There we go. You can watch them live. A little bit of what I've been doing in behind the scenes. All right, so the first goal is by Protus. It was confusing because he did have both goals. So I was like, it could have gone either way. But I want to make sure. So we had 2 goals in this game. One that was important. This one is in Columbus. We're going for our 10th road win in a row here. And we find ourselves down 1-0. And in the third period, Alexi Protas ties the game. And with that, I'll let Gil break down the goal.
All right, so Chikrin starts the breakout, gets it off to Protas, who taps it over to Dubois, and then he gains the offensive zone, draws 2 defenders to him. That leaves Protas open in the high slot, and he snaps it in for his 10th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Troy made a good point I wanted to say on Facebook. He says, if the Raiders come back, it will actually be a huge help for the Commanders, which is true. I know that would not make Marcus happy, but
No, but
make,
apparently something's going on right now because I just heard him yelling, "He gone."
yeah, yeah,
I assume he's watching the football game.
yeah. So there's a lot going on. There's 2 football games and a hockey game, so it's hard to pay attention
And
on.
Monday Night Raw.
And Monday Night Raw, of course, yeah. That I save on the DVR for tomorrow. But Gil, yeah, Protoss is a huge goal here.
He's becoming a beast. I just love. I kind of wish Anna was here because this would have been a great week to gush over her favorite guys. It figures she's not here, but yeah, you got Protas and you got Wilson, who both had great weeks. But yeah, this is a great goal by him. He uses his not only his size but his skating ability to get open. And who knew he had such a great shot? But his shot too was obviously the difference, as we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Just a big timely goal very early in the third period. C4, any thoughts on this one?
It was pretty. I'm so happy to see Protus coming into his own. Like you said, he's finally starting to use that body. And the way Dubois is playing too. I was like with you, Gil, I was skeptical at first, but I think he's really found his place here. And he's fit right in and he's working well. And yeah, that was just a great play overall for both of them.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Gil, I have to ask you an interesting question. I actually missed the first period. Who scored for us in tonight's? We haven't even broken down why we're up 1-0. I realized
Uh, so that goal was it was by Dylan Stroman. Is another high tip goal by him, deflection by him. He's getting pretty damn good at those when he's not setting other guys up. That gives him a 4-game point streak. But yeah, he's the one that got the goal. It was on a hard point shot by Chikrin that set him up for that goal. But yeah, that's who got it.
I was excited because I was down here setting up. It was still 0-0. Then Zach came running down here and I had to chase him. And I did look up and I saw that it was 1-0. We gave each other a high five and then I ran him upstairs. But that's literally
Oh no.
So
Uh-oh.
Wilson is
Willie's
down,
down
and
again.
he is in a lot of pain. Okay,
Crap.
he's on his feet.
Okay, yeah,
Serby's with him. Jason Service is with him, but he is hunched over and not feeling good. Okay, well, he's sitting down on the bench.
he grabbed his ribs.
He grabbed his
Somebody's
ribs
getting
and
a penalty for it. Oh,
yeah,
he's not happy.
interference.
He
No, he's
just
not
dropped a
happy.
few F-bombs.
I was going to say he just yelled something that we can't really repeat out loud here.
Oh!
I missed that. What happened? He get jabbed?
He got
I'm gonna
literally the
wind.
guy like it was I was like almost he just ran right into him and pushed him over like hard into the ice. Like didn't even slow down.
yeah, I missed it too. So I'm gonna go back.
I've jobbed
I was gonna
it.
say you got a
I
second to go back and look.
Okay, so oh yeah, kabong from
Oh
behind.
wow, from behind. They
Yeah.
call it quickly
Yeah,
too.
no bueno.
Right,
No
right by the ref
bueno.
too. That's an interesting decision. Like the
Well,
ref.
the ref actually called the penalty on
No,
it,
he
so
called it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Brendan Smith.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not exactly the cleanest player.
no.
I mean, I know that's just a cross check, but sometimes I think for how vicious it is, it should be a 4 minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For the record, this is our third power play.
Oh, that's a
Now
good.
that may have factored into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Ooh.
2-on-2 catch.
This
Nice.
is not good.
I like the
Okay,
quick
so-
release by the goalie that has set him back up, going the other way.
Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Going back the other way again.
Yeah,
One
let
on
your end
one.
and yeah,
Set.
their power their PK though is like
They got the
something
best
else.
home penalty kill.
Nice move there. Who is that? Is that Willie back on the ice? I think Willie's back on the ice. He's the only 40 something we
see.
have, right?
Faravari's
Oh,
42.
Fairfire is 42. But is he usually on the PK penalty?
No.
That's
That
Willie.
wouldn't be him.
No, that's Willie. Willie
Yeah,
is
that's Sandine
Oh no,
breaking
that's
out now.
okay,
I'm
no,
still behind.
Miroshnichenko.
I think
Okay, so that's Sandine. Miro just went off the ice, I think.
I think Willie was on, but he was off on that
Yeah,
last.
he dropped it to Dubois, to Eller, Dubois.
Yeah, so we're going around and recycling. We're still in the power play. 25 seconds left here.
Miro's on the ice. So maybe I thought Miro was
Yeah,
Willie
this is our
'cause he's
second power play.
63.
So it's interesting. All right,
There you go, Eller.
playing
Come
catch
on,
up.
set it up, set it up, set it up, set it up. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Ah! Stop
God, they're
wasting
probably-
time, boys. Can we shoot it?
I mean, they're in all the zones. They're playing
Well,
it.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, I mean,
There's
so-
not, they're not giving us a lot of room. You're right. Well, at least they got the shot off.
yeah. So if people aren't watching it, we were having an argument about jerseys earlier. They're wearing their black jerseys with highlighter green across them.
Out.
And the Caps are wearing their road whites. But it was interesting. Speaking of jerseys, they interviewed all the Caps players on what their favorite
That
jersey.
was Willie.
Yeah, it was Willie out there. Yeah. And it's interesting how many Capitals players credit the black Screaming Eagle retro reverse as their favorite jersey, which is interesting because I know most of the fans would not think that, but it's just kind of funny to me.
So
That unfortunately they kill off that power play, but we still have a little bit of zone possession. 8:50 left here in the second period, and All right, let's get into the next goal. We've only got one goal in over 20 minutes. All right, and so we're gonna go to Alexia Protas again, this time in overtime. It was a really close match in the fact that it was 1-1 going into overtime here. And Gil, want to break down this overtime goal for us?
Oh, okay, so 3-on-3. They win the draw in the offensive zone, but it's 3-on-3, so they drag it back. Strome carries and gets into the zone, drops it for Protas, waits and holds. He goes back at seems to be his favorite spot, that top area. If you draw a line, if you draw a straight line between the tops of the circles, that seems to be his wheelhouse. But another wrister from that area just waits the right amount of time and then flings it with great precision past the blocker hand side of Jet Greaves for the game winner.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Work. Hold on. You
Oh,
guys see that?
somebody else doing some selective editing.
So you got this slow motion shot. Look at this curveball right here, right?
That was beautiful.
So I really love, they had a
I
slow
thought it
mo.
was going 5-hole, but man.
Right. So it
Yeah.
was a slow mo that was shot at the very end of the broadcast that I then slow mowed down even more. And and so this is what you get. I thought this was a really cool angle that I shot. So you can see right there, he's got this torque of this blade going, and it's just curving and it looks like it's gonna, and he protects himself center because it looks like it's gonna go. And
Yeah.
then what it really reminds me of like a changeup in baseball, right? Like
Yeah.
I just thought that was kind of a cool thing that you can really see how hard it is to be a goalie when things are spinning off of it like that. So, and yeah, most of us all thought it was 5-hole when you saw it live. So I thought that was a really interesting perspective of that. I don't usually do that, but I thought that that would be interesting for us to have for sure. Yeah, C4, what are some of your thoughts on this goal?
Again, another pretty goal from Protus. He just again, I the chemistry with him he's building with these guys, it doesn't seem to matter who gets him the puck. When he's in the right spot, he's going to score, you know? And he's learning to get around and move his body and use his body to and he's got great vision, I think. Not many people could have made that shot.
Yeah, for sure. It is an incredible shot. So we got 8:40 left here in the second period. It's still 7-3 in this Falcons Raiders game. And at halftime, the Vikings are up 13-0 over the Bears. All right, so that was
Nope. Scrum.
oh yeah. All right, let's get into the next game. Again, find ourselves behind in a game. Um, and we come back again. This one, wow, there's so much to sort of break down in this game. Tom Wilson, is just playing incredible. But Gil, I'll let you break down this first Tom Wilson goal for sure, where he ties the game up here.
So Tom Wilson,
and you're
yeah.
also Gil was at the game, so I do want to get your on going to the game as well. So yeah.
So Tom here, so the McMichael and Strome and Carlson looks like cycling. Carlson walks in, fires from the left circle, and Tom Wilson, who's been taking TJ Oshie lessons all year, sitting in that bumper spot, positions himself just right to get the blade on it and deflects it past Cheryl Ann, the goalie name again?
Uka Pekkaman.
Him for the goal.
Sorry, I just love saying his name.
I love that. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Canton New. I appreciate that. And so
I did say it right.
Sith said the Raw's on my DVR for tomorrow as well. So it was brutal. However, at least wasn't Matt Cut dirty. That guy was dirty on his hits his entire career. That's true. So Yeah, important goal there by Tom Wilson to tie the game against Buffalo. How was the game up until this point, and your overall thoughts when we obviously scored the game tying goal, Gil?
Yeah, we weren't. Crowd wasn't too happy with the slow start. No booze, but some antsiness. They were into it, but yeah, as a slower than anticipated start of the game. Buffalo came into this with, I think they were on a 9-game winless streak at this point. And I think Caps fans were kind of expecting this one to be, a steamroller, and unpleasantly surprised when it didn't happen in the first period. And as you can see here, they waited all the way to the second period or no, towards the end of the first period to get this goal when they finally got a power play. That was the other thing we weren't happy about. A lot of missed calls in the first period, lots of them by the two refs, and we weren't happy about that either. Yeah, and that's first period. Yeah, not quite by design. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. 9-3 now. Falcons,
Yeah,
Raiders.
safety, I heard.
Yeah, interesting. So that's why I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why are the Raiders kicking off if, but you're right. There was a touchdown before for them. So safety there against the Raiders at 5:35 left here in the first half. And then we got another Tom Wilson goal. Carol, want to break this one down? Or it's not Carol, Gil.
Um, um,
One of those co-hosts,
so so Caps get another power play. Chikrin leading the way here again, carries into the zone, draws the right side to him, right side penalty killers to him while he's doing so. So Wilson sees that, gets into the bumper position, and just gets enough of a stick on it to fling it past
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
for the goal. And Caps have the lead.
Nice. I like this bit already. And unfortunately, Caps just took a penalty, so they Dallas is on the power play
Yeah.
now. In that one, I didn't actually see what the penalty was.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Chikrin for something.
Carlson high sticking
and they
against
just
Jamie Benn.
Oh, Carlson. Okay, and Stars just
And
tied
of
it.
course they scored.
Yeah, Carlson high sticking 2 minutes, drawn by Jamie Benn, and
I hate
yeah,
Jamie Benn. Hey,
Yeah.
you get
uh,
cat's trying to eat my. Hurry, get off my table.
man, that sucks. All right, so here's the goal now in the replay. It's a shot. That oh wow. It's a shot that then gets, I think it's rebound off of the guy that then goes right down to the guy who's down low and then back into sort of makes a perfect triangle for them.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kind of,
Hints in the bumper position and in the perfect spot to roof it past Lindgren for that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing Lindgren can do at point
Yeah.
blank.
No, he wasn't stopping that one.
Yeah, so unfortunate. 1-1 game. I kind of thought that this was a close game. I mean, it's 15-14. The Caps are out now out shooting Dallas, but it's pretty close game so far. It's not surprising that they broke through here. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see if the Caps can get the next one. The next goal that made it 3-2 is by Dylan Strome, becoming, I think, the fifth different capital to hit double digits in scoring on this season.
Sounds right.
And Carlson's 19th assist. And Gil, why don't you break down this important goal that gave him the lead in the third period?
So if they gave out third assist, Chikrin would have gotten one here. He starts the play, finds a great cross ice pass to Radish, who drops it for Carlson. Carlson does what he does, delivers it to the net, where Strome picks it up and taps it in for the game winner.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful goal and tip by Dylan Strome for sure. C4, what are some of your thoughts?
Again, Strome doing what Strome does. And this one was in front of the net where we need to be. We need more of these.
Yeah, wasn't enough of that in the first period.
I can't believe we got him for next to nothing, and he was like a first-round draft pick originally. I saw like
Strome?
Number three overall, if you can believe that.
and we got him for next to nothing, Gil. It's
Yeah,
just kind of remarkable. Wasn't it like a third round draft pick or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but
It was not a lot. Yeah.
yeah, we got him cheap, and I wasn't, I didn't know a lot about him, but boy, are we sure learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Oh no, he signed as a free agent deal.
That's
Okay,
right. Yeah, he was an
Okay.
FA.
right. So, but I think
Chicago let him walk.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what it was. I knew that they either got nothing for him or not much, and the answer was nothing. So we signed
yeah,
him in 22. Yeah, it's interesting the stat. He said it was a 25-year-old former first rounder who was seen by in some eyes as an underachiever, which was true, but not anymore.
Well, I
Hey,
mean,
McMichael gets upended and they don't call.
look where he started his career in Arizona,
Yeah,
and then went over to the Blackhawks, and in both places he really had nobody to feed, nobody to set up,
Mm-hmm.
so that he could showcase his talent. Now here in his second year here, okay, he's the center for the greatest goal scorer of all time, you know,
Right?
but he also finds out he's got a shot of his own. So, I mean, it sounds like a bunch of fertilizer. Oh yeah, that's right. You need fertilizer to grow a beautiful rose, which is what happened here.
Exactly. And I
yeah.
tell you, Chikrin is, oof,
It's just funny because I never even
that
remember
man is,
on Chicago. That's
he's
what's
been,
Yeah, he was yeah, I can barely remember his Chicago days. I remember mostly him as a Coyote.
right. In the last year, he did okay.
mm,
He had 22 goals, and what was it? And 26 assists for 48 points, which isn't bad, in 69 games. But in the 2021 season, he only played 40 games and only had 17 points. So, Chicago was done when you aggregate those 2 years together, right? As your last 2 years of a contract. But he's had better years in every Capitals year since then. Oh, we got a
Good
huge
good fight here. Good fight here. So
ooh,
yeah,
come on,
Duhaime
Duhane.
and
Take
Smith,
him down, Duhane.
the guy that went after Wilson that clomped Willie in the ribs.
yeah.
Yes.
And Duhaime basically ragdolling him in
Oh,
the corner.
took him down. There we go.
I love it. So not allowed to show the game, but I'm kind of okay showing the
So
fight.
good. So good right hands by Duhaime there. What a
Yeah,
great pickup.
They're going to the box, but it's okay. It's worth it.
yeah. I was gonna see if I can
I
show
think we're
the.
close to the end of the period, so they're actually going to the dressing room.
Yeah, probably 5 minute majors.
Yeah, 3:34 left, so they're going to the each going to
Yeah.
the dressing room. So
Yeah.
they're done. They're both done for the period.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's okay. Okay with that.
that's a really nice fight. I went back and watched a little bit of it. Just some pretty good rights. Yeah. Here, I wonder if I can. There we go. Can show it behind the scenes over there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
But
That was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, some really good right hooks. Both of them put up quite a fight. So it was a good takedown. Yeah, awesome. So the
Monday
NHL,
Night Raw.
the
Monday
NHL
Night Raw and
come
Ice.
after me for showing fights, unlike the game itself. So, we'll see. Um, but
We weren't
anyway,
technically rebroadcasting. It was in the background and we were talking.
right, and I waited 30 seconds, so it wasn't live. So,
There we go.
so I was critiquing it in later after the fact.
That's how it
Anyway,
works.
that's how I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah.
And
Technicalities.
we got one more goal here, right? We got the empty netter. Um, and
There's my boy.
yeah,
Yeah, not much to this one. There's a scrum in the
Nope.
corner. Chikrin gets it and just throws it 160 odd feet.
what a
And
great
bullseye.
I don't know. It's like a skill into itself to be able to like bullseye from that far and then
Yeah.
it bounce
Yeah.
off blue and in. I mean, it was almost he got it all the way in the air, Gil. Like
Yeah.
that's like impressive into itself. Like, Um,
it looked as good live as it did on on TV, I'm sure.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
bet.
So
Probably better.
yeah, probably better because like we actually saw that it never got on the ice until it hit the blue. Like
Yeah.
basically, it's that's hard
And
to
I'm
do.
sure Marcus was very happy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, grower, not a shower. So yeah.
Yes.
Um, all right. With that, I think we will switch back to our main scene here and stop the screen share. It's been a very close, tight game here in this second period that we've watched live. I do want to take a look at the upcoming schedule while we watch the end of this period live. We play right back at Chicago tomorrow. One of my friends from the Sinbin Caps group, Zach, is actually going to be at the game. He tries to go to all the games in Chicago and has a good luck charm for us in a lot of previous years. We have a lot of really good luck in Chicago, including important milestone hat tricks for Ovechkin and other great wins. So, hoping that our
Yeah.
road success continues again there. Then on Friday, we are playing Carolina at home, followed by Sunday playing Los Angeles, also in Washington. That's a 5 o'clock puck drop on Sunday. Then on Monday, so we got another back to back. They have to go to Boston, which kind of, no favors by the schedule or people again. This one in Boston, it's a 7 o'clock game. Boston has not been playing well lately, but Boston always plays us well, no matter what the situation. So a game in Boston is never an easy one for the Caps. Uh, and then we have 5 days off for the Christmas break. So we come home and then take another little trip. This time, Saturday, December 28th, will be at Toronto. Sunday, December 29th at Detroit. So we have 5 days off and then a back-to-back on the road. And then Tuesday, December 31st, it's a 12:30 game on New Year's Eve. So it's a really early home game on a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
I will
Um,
be at the game on the 22nd, Marcus and I.
oh, cool.
Mhm.
Nice. And then on the second, on the Thursday the second, they play Minnesota at home. It's a 7 o'clock game. And then Saturday, January 4th, New York Rangers, noon start time on that Saturday.
Mm.
I might go to that game actually. And unfortunately, Dallas just scored
Yep.
to take a 2-1 lead. We will never beat this team in Dallas. I'm just convinced of it. It's just like I
Mm,
wonder.
we have time.
I'd love to see our last 10 in Dallas because I bet it's real bad. Um, but yeah, we do not.
Oh yeah. Oh, double whammy there. So the point shot goes in. It hits.
Ooh.
I think that Sandine hits him in the hand and goes in. Yeah, hits him right in the hand and goes into the net.
Oh,
Yeah, because Sandine starts shaking his hand.
Yeah.
oh, it's like the worst of all
Well,
possible.
or well, maybe he had an invisible business partner, and I don't know.
I would prefer that, but
Yeah, what? No, but
probably
that
not
that
what
had
it was.
yeah, that had to be what it was.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
that's a bummer.
yep.
Own goals are always deflating. Not that that's really an own goal, but like it's
Yeah,
just
that was deflected for
it
sure.
sucks when it's off of you, like I feel like that's
Yeah.
hand pass
Hand
here.
pass. Yep.
So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go to that Rangers game. I'd love to take Zach to a game this year. I'd like to go to the game with my dad. So something I'm going to talk over Christmas break with them to see if that's a possibility. There's only really two daytime, like easy to go to games coming up. And that's one of them. And the other one is Sunday, February 9th against Utah. The Utah franchise comes for the first time to Cap One. Um, and that's a 12:30 start on that Sunday. So those are two games I'm looking to maybe go to. So I might go to that. And so when we come back after that one, we'll definitely be talking about multiple weeks for the Capitals and how they did, and then break down in more depth the last couple of weeks or the last week at that point. And So yeah, it should be an interesting road upcoming. Gil, I know that's a lot of games that's coming up, but anything stand out to you on sort of the road ahead?
Well, the one coming up, well, the not this one, not a road game, but the one coming up this Friday is probably going to be the truest test for the recent success and how sustainable it is. After that, well, LA's the Kings are quietly having a very good year, so that one's probably a good one too. Caps haven't done as well at home, as strange as that sounds. So nice, going to be nice to see how they react. And then, like you said, the Boston, and then the layoff for the holiday, then Toronto, and then Detroit and Boston again. Maybe Toronto the only one in that bunch that will give them any trouble. And then we go into the new year and we face the Minnesota Wild, who have been topping the charts for the last couple weeks now. So that's also going to be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, the matchups are going to be up and down, yin and yang, these next couple of weeks. As then they play the Rangers, who are absolutely imploding right now. And that'll round out the first week of the new year. So interesting mix of good and bad teams trending.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Um, all right, so we got about 15 minutes before we finish up our caps talk. I do want to get I may actually switch some stuff up. I'll ask if Champ and Sith want to come on a little early. And if you guys want to turn off your cameras and microphones and come back in after the game is over and give a recap at the end or come at the back at the end of the podcast, it's up to you guys. If you want to just, watch the third period and not do that, there's no hard feelings. But I know we did that before with a previous show. And so I'll at least offer that up to both of you guys tonight as well. And if not, I can always just have them come on a little bit earlier and we can switch gears and we can have you guys head off on your own way. So I guess I'll ask you first, C4. Would you like to come back after the football segment to talk more
Sure.
hockey? Or do
Sure.
you okay. All
Happy
right.
to.
All right. And Gil, what are your thoughts?
Can do, Robbie boy. Yeehaw! Would love to be there.
Okay, that sounds good. I send a message to Champ and Seth and see if they can get on a little bit early. And then we can get into that. But Gil, while I do that, I want to get your thoughts so far on this game and what we have to do to somehow grab momentum back going into the third, and what you think our chances are in the third period here.
Well, I don't want to jinx anything, but if it's one thing we've noticed, or hopefully everybody's noticed, is that the very next period after the Caps fall behind or give up a late goal, they usually react very well. Specifically within the first 2.5 minutes of that next period, whether it's been the second or the third, and that's been the case just about all season so far. So look for that. Even if they don't get a goal in those 2 minutes, I think they're going to come out pretty hard to get that answer. It's what's been heartening to me, and I noticed this in the game that I was at, and of course in the Columbus game, is that the Caps have kind of taught themselves how to play and win games that are close, whether they should be close, or in this case, are supposed to be close. What I mean by that is don't play down to your opposition. Well, they did in these two games that we covered, but they're not in this game. They're keeping up as best as they can with the Stars. But again, they're teaching themselves how to stay in games that are close for why ever, and doing what they need to do. So unless there's a complete lapse in concentration, which can always happen, expect the Caps to play them hard, play them close. They've got a shot. They got a shot at winning here. Just stick to the game plan, trust themselves, and of course, it'll always help to stay out of the box.
Well, yeah.
But Yeah, I don't fear the Dallas power play too much. I don't know how high ranked they are, but I don't fear them too much. Some of their best players are kind of slumping, but as
Well, they
long as they
did
stick
score.
to their
Having said
game, they'll
that,
be
they did
fine.
score on the power play,
Oh,
so
they did, but it was a fluky goal.
it
So
was.
I'm not too worried about it either way. As
Yeah,
long as Caps have a decent penalty kill of their own, just play smart. Don't hand them too many opportunities.
yeah. Don't try too hard. Play your game. Get in front of the net. Because that's the best way to beat pretty much any goalie is get in his face and shoot the puck.
So my dad is
So
actually rooting for the Caps live in Grand Cayman in the house that I will be in at the end of the week. So we have
nice.
an international audience of Capitals fans joining us tonight. That is awesome. All right, that's great. Well, with that, I think I'm going to switch gears and then I will bring you guys both back in at the either the tail end of the third period if it's close, or after the game to sort of give a quick little recap as a sort of a nightcap to the podcast. But I
Okay.
appreciate you both for joining us, and we'll switch gears a little bit and talk Commanders, and then we'll bring the Caps crew back at the end.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you soon.
Let's see, guys. All right, with that, we can bring Sith in, and we will bring Champ in as well. And I appreciate you both coming on a little bit early. I wasn't sure when the intermission would fall, and it fell a little bit earlier tonight. But Sith, we should talk about the dominant performance of the Commanders where they blew them out. It was never in doubt, and it was the most incredible game. It was exactly what we expected. We blew them out by 30, right? Right? Is that what happened? No? No, that was the fever dream that I was while I was throwing up watching the team that I was hoping would be happening. But I had a stomach virus during this game, so they were, not the only thing making me puke, but it definitely did not help the stomach virus, for sure, to have my stomach in knots at the end of this game, where it should not have even gone to this final play because of clock mismanagement. They got to have a final play to score a touchdown to almost tie the game, potentially. That is New Orleans. And yeah, it shouldn't have happened. There was 9 seconds left. It took them 9 seconds to get to the snap, but they stopped it at 9 seconds for 3 seconds. And the difference was they were able to get it off with 3 seconds left, shockingly. Home, but it's partially the officials' fault too. They blew it dead, which I don't, it's not like it was just like the home clock did it by itself. Like, not sure why they did that, and they got to play. They scored the touchdown. They decide with the momentum to go for two. My dad hated the call live. He thought that all the momentum was going New Orleans' way. They should have played for overtime because they probably would have won because they have the better field goal kicker. But they chose not to. They chose to try to win it right there. And we got very, very lucky. And we escaped with a 1-point victory. But Sith, what were some of your thoughts on this way too close football game?
First and foremost, pass the Advil. Just toss it. Okay. I'm sure your dad's probably laughing with that too. Look, all jokes aside, first and foremost, our O line yesterday, I realized our center was injured. I realized that. But the O line was abysmal. He gave up 8 sacks yesterday. 8. And it doesn't matter what type of quarterback you have, whether they're good, whether they're versatile, whether they suck. 8 hits, 8 sacks, that's going to hurt your quarterback. And another thing that hurt, before we got to 9 seconds left in the game, on our last offensive drive, Daniels threw a rocket for 23 yards to get us deep into the red zone late in the game. And of course, there's a holding penalty that brings us back at a field goal range. And I'm just like,
They
oh,
should
that got good.
have been running it though. Like, I get it that the pass had been working, but it's just very frustrating to me that
It
like
is. I mean, he came off we came out on the right foot in New Orleans yesterday, but then we did something that we've done in several games this season. We've allowed teams, instead of shutting it down, we've allowed them to come back. And it is something that has bit us in the butt, ass, whatever term you want to use, over and over again this season. We've allowed teams that we've got a good lead on, we've allowed them to come back in. Then we get to like the last 2 minutes and we're all biting our nails off, drinking tea or whatever. And we're going, oh God, here we go again. And I love how Jaden Daniels was poised after the game. And he said, look, this was a team effort. It wasn't our best. We have to learn from this and go to the next game, which is Philadelphia.
Yeah,
And we were within striking distance of Philadelphia that entire game. So, on the bright side, I'm going to try to be optimistic here. We finished above 500 first time since 2016. All right, cool. That's a good thing. I can extrapolate that. I can accept that. But I also agree that even though we're rebuilding and this team is growing together, we get exposed in games like this where we're up 19-12 or 19-0, and we let the other team back in by making mistakes. The penalties, I know some of them are suspect, absolutely, but some of them weren't. And those that weren't suspect, those hurt us at the end of the day. The Jaden Daniels was in the first half very proficient. He only missed like 5 or 6 of his passes yesterday, which isn't too bad. He did throw an interception, thankfully. But the flip side of the coin is some of those passes weren't good, that were incomplete, that should have been better, and he even admits it. But overall, am I frustrated? Yes. But the other side of the coin is we control our destiny. Who thought that we would be here right now controlling our destiny?
Yeah.
Okay. That's key, is we're controlling our own destiny as we're getting ready for what I'm calling the huge home stretch, where I believe it's Philadelphia and Atlanta at home. We close that against Dallas.
Right.
So,
It's a tough
yeah.
spot. We could win all those games. We could lose all those games. I mean, it's a really strange thing. I mean, my dad's
It
really
is.
against Atlanta right now because they're really close. The standings are so tight here. It's so we could so easily make the playoffs, and we could so easily just miss it by 1 or 2 games, which is the worst place to be. It's funny, there were some Cowboys fans that were taunting, Commanders fans earlier. I'm like, you're aiming right now for you don't know if you're tanking or not. Like that's the worst place to be. And it right now we're only 3 games ahead of Atlanta, 2 games ahead of Arizona, 1 game ahead of Seattle for that last spot. Green 1 game above us, and Minnesota's 2 games above us for the other 2 wild card spots. So it's all very close. And so, as you were saying, the Eagles is going to be a tough out. I really would love to see us beat them, not because I want to win the division, because I think the division's out of reach now at 12-2. I mean, we could run the table and Philly lose all their remaining games and win the division, but that would be highly unlikely. Philly would have to lose to us. They'd have to lose to Dallas in Philly and then lose to the Giants in Philly. So I'm pretty much that's not happening.
No.
So it is interesting that the Eagles have to play all 3 divisional opponents left. Like that's what their schedule is for that.
We're
And
the toughest of the 3 that they have left. I mean, Dallas isn't all that good, and the Giants, well, they're a dumpster fire.
welcome on in, champ. I'm so sorry that Zoom was giving you so much trouble. But
I just want to say, excuse my French, fuck my laptop. I'm sick of this fucking thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sid knows the issues I have with this piece of shit.
Yeah. Yep. I feel you. It's hard. Streaming machines are very finicky. For people that don't know, people don't know right now. I've got the craziest setup going. We got a secondary laptop here where I've got two football games and chat from Twitch over here. Also, shout out to the new sticker that came. If you want to go get them at the merch store. So that's on that side, and then over here I've got a whole PC sending this whole stream out because no one machine can do all that work. So it's very complicated. But the puck was just dropped here in the or is about to be, I'm sorry, in the third period of this Caps game where unfortunately the Caps are down 2-1 in Dallas. But Champ Sith has already gotten his early thoughts in on this. I was joking earlier. I don't know if you heard about this big blowout win of 1 point that we got, and it's a very tough second half to watch with some really questionable officiating. I hate to put it on that. It's funny because the other team was like, the officials were making bad calls against us. I was like, get the hell out of here. And but anyway, Champ, what are some of your thoughts on this 1 point victory?
So the first roughing the passer call was correct. Man's had his arm around his neck, almost clotheslined him. That was the right call. That second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty was bullshit. It was complete bullshit. It shouldn't have been called. Even London Fletcher on the radio said it's plays like that, like it's penalties like that that should be reviewable because there's no way that that was a roughing the passer call at all. So I don't know why they called that, but that's neither here nor there. It was once again a tale of two halves. First half, Washington looked absolutely phenomenal. Offensively, they looked good. Defensively, they looked good. But as the game wore on, it started to wear on them. Sith mentioned it earlier. I was listening in when I was trying to load in, but Zoom just froze and just crashed. With Tyler Biotish being out, that offensive line just was not in sync and did not have their stuff together and allowed JD5 to get sacked 8 times. That's the most times he's been sacked in a game. And so you could tell that Biotish being out, thankfully, it's probably going to be only a 1 week thing because it was just an illness. So he should be back next week for the Philly game here in DC. But having him missing was a big deal as it showed because otherwise, I think that they would have played a lot better. I think offensively, the line would have played a lot better. They would have definitely ran the ball a lot better. Also, there were at least 3 passes to McLaurin that were guaranteed touchdowns had JD5 either gotten a little bit more touch on them to get them to drop into him, or on the one where he underthrew him, he put a little bit more on it. I think that Terry McLaurin, I think London Fletcher said, and Logan Paulson said it best on the radio, because I listened to this game while I was driving Lyft, and then I watched it again before the podcast. Terry McLaurin easily could have had 5 touchdown catches, easily. But it was just a couple passes that were just not on that were there, but just missed. And so again, this is something that they can build upon and learn on. Get Tyler Biotish back in there, and I think you're going to see at least a different offensive line. And I think that this team really made this one a nail biter when it didn't have to be, but at least they keep their playoffs. They keep themselves in the playoff hunt. They control their own destiny, which Sith has mentioned numerous times in the past that they control their own destiny. They're in the 7th seed. So all they got to do is continue to win, and they can find themselves in the playoffs a year removed from being the number 2 overall pick in the draft, having one of the worst records in the league. And that'll make a huge turnaround from a season ago. So a lot to build upon, a lot to work on, but I think they're in the right direction. It's just this one was just way too close for comfort, in my opinion. You're muted, Robbie.
Oh, thank you. It was an interesting game for a lot of reasons. Especially because I think this New Orleans Saints is a hard team to read. I think that a lot of people on like going into this game were like, oh, we'll just walk all over this team. We've got a bye week, we got Lattimore coming back, and like this is gonna be a cakewalk. And a lot of players don't love bye weeks after a big win because sometimes there's a little bit of rust, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, you got an extra week off. It should be easy, more game plan time, more this and that. But they get into this rhythm, especially so late in the season where they're so used to this rhythm of playing every week. That it's difficult. And not to mention, New Orleans had some really good wins early in the season. They lost the room. They fired the coach, interim coach coming in to try to prove something. They've actually played a lot better the last couple of weeks. And they had something to prove in this game where if they won it and won out, they had an opportunity in this division that's very close to maybe even make the playoffs. So it's not like I felt like people didn't give them the credit that they deserve going into this. And the first half we looked really good, but the second half it looked like we were out of sorts a little bit, almost like our conditioning, wasn't quite the same level that it had been in other weeks, where we're more used to that grind. And we let him back into it. And some bad play calls, I think. I like the fact that he doesn't just go straight to the run to try to grind out the clock, that he uses the passing game to do that. I think it can be effective at times. But I also think he could do that too much. He went to the well too many times, and you still got to keep the run game involved. You can't just completely abandon it. And I think if they'd gone to the run game, I know there was just a couple of plays to Terry McLaurin if they'd gone our way. One that was underthrown, one that was, could have been a pass first. But anyway, there's a lot of different stuff on that, and so it's just tough. We could have put that game away and we didn't, and it almost came back to haunt us. What was your thoughts on going for two there? Do you think that was the right call by their coach? I know that it helped us in the end, but what would you have done in that situation?
The same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Listen, your team is struggling to get wins. Your team has had like last second wins and losses and stuff like that. You know that you're playing a quality team in the Commanders. You want to beat them at home. You just lost your star running back to injury, so you're on your backup running back. You're on your rookie quarterback that started in the second half because your other starter struggled in the first half. You got to do something to get a spark out of your team. So why not just go for the gusto? Granted, a lot of analysts will say take the extra point, take your chances in overtime, but there's no guarantee that you get the ball in overtime because they can go Washington come out and score a touchdown real quick, and guess what? Game's over, and they don't get a chance to possess the ball, and it's over. Whereas they try for the 2 points and get the victory. Like, what did Herm Edwards say in a press conference one time before? You play to win the game. That's what you do. You play to win the game. I don't blame the coach, the interim coach, for going for two there. It's just crazy because the tight end had his hands on that ball. He could have easily brought that in. That ball was catchable, and he just missed it. So we got hella lucky that Mans was Butterfingers on that particular pass, because otherwise we'd be sitting here talking about a misery Monday and losing by 1 point instead of winning by 1 point.
There was a lot of heat on that ball, though. I mean, you're right. It was in a zone that was catchable, but it bounced off his hand so hard, and so Sith, do you agree though? You go for it in that situation?
You're at home, you're down by one, you have a chance to win and beat, as Champ said, a quality team at home, in your house. After everything that y'all have gone through, you go for two, you roll the dice. Washington, the football gods were among us because it was a tail taps, as Champ said. First half we were on fire. Second half we just weren't there. And, for certain reasons, things just didn't work our way, and we got very lucky that the receiver had butterfingers. It was like watching Featherstone in the movie Necessary Roughness from '91, where the guy couldn't catch the ball to save his life until the end of the fucking movie. Okay, that's what it was like watching that last play. But when that happened, I breathed a sigh of relief. Like, oh, thank God. I put up my usual hail to the Commanders, raise hail, all that. But all I'm thinking is, we got so lucky on that last play with everything that happened in the second half. And thankfully, our center should be good to go, because of illness. So hopefully he'll be back on against Philadelphia. That'll be a big thing. Because something that was said on the Fox telecast is when one of your key members of your offensive line is down, the chemistry of that O line can sometimes break apart at times because you're dealing with substitutions that come in and have people that are used to working together as a unit throughout the week, practice, film, and game. So, you know, hopefully the team learns from this game, applies some lessons, and we come home and we got to handle our business. That's all we can do.
Yeah. My dad made a good point above that I wanted to bring up. That it was a bad call with a guy who missed a lot of kicks throughout the season so far that we just picked up to make him kick a 54-yarder, kick it, try to down it within the 10
That
yard.
was a stupid decision.
Yeah.
That was a Ron Rivera decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. And yeah, that call and just the not running the ball to force them to use their last timeout, I think those are really bad calls that almost came back and haunt them, right? You run the ball, force them to get the timeout, then you kick the ball off and they get it at the 10-yard line. They have zero timeouts and got to go 90 yards instead of trying to go 50 yards, or maybe 60 yards or whatever, and with one timeout, right? And it's just
Here's the
like
thing, Robbie.
yeah.
Robbie. Washington is one of the best fourth down teams in the league. Their fourth down conversion rate is above 90%. Okay. So they get the job done on fourth down. That's one of those situations where you got to trust the numbers and go for it on fourth down. Take your chance of maybe getting the first down, and in that way you have a chance to get a little closer for a much makeable field goal, and then you force them, like you said, to drive the length of the field in order to win the game. So that was one of the rare misfires of Coach Quinn, was going for a 50-plus yard field goal with someone who they just signed this week, who hasn't kicked in a while. In a situation like that, that was definitely a misstep by the coaching staff to make that decision. And like I said, it almost came back to bite them right in the ass.
You make a good point about going for a fourth down that I hadn't thought about, because you get it where the line of scrimmage is. Let's say we don't get the fourth down, right? But they get the ball still 7 to 10 yards further downfield, right? Because it's where we kick it.
Exactly.
They get the ball, which is further back, so they get better field position, right? So, unless you're taking a sack on that play on the fourth down, you probably give them better field position. It was fourth and what? What was the yardage? Do you remember? I don't.
I
That's
think
what.
it was 6.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I can understand maybe not. In that case, if it was less than 5, I kind of agree with you. If it's more than 5, I think you just kick it and coffin corner. We got one of the best punters in the league, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we had a bad punter. Yeah, I could see an argument, but I've seen him pin teams back so many times. I mean, in some previous years, he was one of the best at that. In some seasons, he was our saving grace, if we remember. So, I would take my chances with him any day. So, the game is still 2-1 in this Dallas Washington game. 15:50 left here in the third. But we've got a big Eagles game coming up. Champ, what are some of your thoughts going into that one?
Eagles are playing really well. One of the best teams in the NFC. Of course, we know that teams like Minnesota and Detroit are absolutely killing it. But the Eagles are right up there. They're one of the top 5 teams in the NFC total. So they're playing really well. Saquon's playing really well. He's actually in the conversation for MVP, even though everybody's looking at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who both absolutely went off on Sunday. I should know about Lamar Jackson because he's about to help me get into a championship and a chance of $350. So, yay me.
Yeah, he had an incredible game.
He had a crazy game. But Saquon's playing really well, and it's clear that whatever drama was going on between Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, that shit is squashed. Because them two look like they were absolutely on the same page on Sunday, and they looked phenomenal against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was a team we couldn't beat, but they were able to beat them and handle them pretty not convincingly, but close to convincingly. So this is going to be a tough game. We already played them in Philly, and they were able to we were able to hang with them until the last bit of the fourth quarter when Saquon went off with 2 touchdowns in a short span, and they were able to run away with it literally. And so that's going to be a very key thing for this Commanders defense is they got to contain Saquon first and foremost. They got to contain the run, and then they got to deal with AJ Brown and that receiving core because they're definite weapons that could definitely hurt you if the run game starts to struggle. Jalen Hurts is also a threat with his legs as well, so that's something that's got to be looked at as well. On the offensive side of things, you get Tyler Biotish back, and hopefully that offensive line gets their rhythm back, and they can keep JD5 upright and clean. And JD5 can go out there and pick apart defenses because he's still one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league right now. He's still in the top 5 in quarterback in completion percentage. He was damn near perfect on Sunday. And the only problem was that he was put on his ass 8 times. And I think you take away those 8 sacks, and you never know how good he would have done in this game had he not been put on his ass that many times. But the end result here is that you're still somewhat in the race for the division, but you're definitely in the race for the playoffs. And you want to. This is an opponent you gotta beat in order to give yourself that cushion to be in the playoffs, and also put you in the conversation for the division. That's something that's still wild to me to even think about. The fact that this team is in contention for the division a year after they only won 4 games all season last season. They have now doubled their win total from last season and are in playoff contention. It's amazing to think about, but they can't think about the future. They got to think about this upcoming game with a division foe and handling business here, getting the W at home, and keeping that momentum going, especially coming off the blowout to Tennessee and then coming off this nail biter against New Orleans. They definitely got to get right, but Philly is not the type of team that's a get right team.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually watched some of that game. Again, I was second, but it was the game of the week, the Pittsburgh Philly game, and I actually found myself. I kind of think the division is out of reach, and I'm kind of okay with that. I've been having talks with Carroll offline. He really doesn't want the division. He doesn't even know if he wants to make the playoffs because he really wants better draft picks, knowing that we're going to be probably one and done. We're probably not going far in the playoffs, right? And so it's better to get the better draft picks. I wouldn't mind sneaking in as a wild card. I do think getting a division schedule next year doesn't help us, right? I think that remember in 2012 we had such a great year. Then the next year we had to play a divisions champion schedule in the second year with a second year quarterback, and that didn't do us any favors, right? So I'd rather play the second place schedule in the division in his second year, right? I think I'm not saying I want us to still win against Philly because I always want us to beat Philly, and B, what you were saying about the padding is going to be true because Atlanta is going to come on real strong in that next game, and we all know that the Dallas game is always a coin flip, right? No matter what the records are. So like you have to try to get a win here somehow, and at least 2 out of these next 3 games, and so it'd be easier if we can get the next one. And I think it's a bit of a trap game for Philly, where I think that Philly could easily overlook us, right? And think, hey, we've already beaten this team. They're looking worse now than when we beat them the last team. Blah 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 blah. So it's an opportunity, right, to come in and prove to the world that this is not a fluke. That we actually can compete with the team I actually think will win the division. But also I thought it was more helpful for Pittsburgh to lose because I like the Ravens as well, and really helpful for the Ravens and the fact that the big game next Saturday, just a quick shout out to that on Fox, 4 o'clock game. And I don't even know if I'll be in Cayman Islands early enough to be able to watch this game, but I hope I am, because for the division on a Saturday afternoon, the Ravens versus the Steelers will be an incredible game next week. It's kind of fun that because Pittsburgh lost, it was for all the marbles, if you will. And So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. Shout out to the Ravens, big time win. I mean, Lamar Jackson, as you said, helped you with fantasy. I loved it because they just beat on the Giants, which I can always appreciate, and uh, it put them in a position that they could still win the division now, and which I appreciate that as well. Um, Minnesota Vikings score a touchdown. They now lead the Bears 19 to 3 with a extra point coming, and they make that, so it's now 20 to 3. The Falcons did get a field goal a little bit earlier. They've now find themselves up 12 to 3 in that game as well. 12:21 left in the third period in this 2-1 game. Nothing has changed so far in this who is the last NHL goalie to win 12 of his first 15 games with a new team? He is a former Capital. It's the Penn Fed trivia question. I don't know the answer to. Oh, Phoenix Copley, 22-23 with the Kings. Interesting. So when Phoenix Copley left our team, he obviously did very well with the Kings. That's a interesting stat there. 12 minutes left here in the third. I do want to get into the Saturday night main event. We'll switch gears a little bit here. And Yeah, there's a lot to break down in this. I will say that I did get to watch a lot of it because it was on NBC, which I appreciate. As someone who doesn't have Peacock, but I do have Netflix, so that'll be helpful going forward. And With some of the different events that are coming up. But I don't get to see a lot of the pay-per-view events. I know this is not a pay-per-view event because it's Saturday night main event. So it's back on broadcast TV, which is really cool. All the different championships were on the line. To my wife's dismay, I got to show my son his very first wrestling match. He got to watch the triple threat match for the heavyweight title, which I thought was a great match and a good one to introduce him in. She got even more upset that I was watching the final card of the night instead of wanting to stuff envelopes with her, and so she went to bed early. I ended up stuffing the envelopes for her after we won the after the match was over, and so I made it up to her at least. But I thought it was a great night, and I wanted to get both of your guys' thoughts on it. I'll start with you, Sith. What were some of your thoughts on the Saturday night main event?
Uh, Really, really good retro feel to the show, to say the least. My only gripe, and Champ will probably back me up on this, way too many commercial breaks. You go like 3.5 minutes into a match, then bam, right to commercial. And it's just like, what the hell? You know, I think what they could have done is maybe taken off one of the matches, had a 4 match card. That way the matches wouldn't be so crammed together, if you will, because it's something that Champ possibly noticed as well as me. Some mistakes were made in some of these matches that if they didn't feel rushed to get in all their stuff into a compressed bit of time, because it's only a 2 hour show, you're doing the commercials, it's only an hour and a half. So you really don't have a lot of time to really get your stuff in. The good news is one thing from the women's match, Liv Morgan, Io Sky, it was accidental. It wasn't intentional, but the knee that went to that caused the knee hit, the knee strike that caused Morgan's nose to bleed. Thankfully, it stopped broken. But overall, this was a really, really good night of action. And I got to rewatch it on my DVR because I recorded it, because when Champ and I were live reacting, I couldn't listen to the audio. Jesse doing the main event, I was in shambles on commentary. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I obviously was not. I was listening to you guys, so didn't hear the commentary, but I did hear good things about that. This has been a crazy end, or not even end, right at the 10-minute mark. There's just fireworks about to go off in this, and here's some punching. I love anybody who wants to fight Tom Wilson with his full cage right now. It's something out of like a Bond movie, like yeah, Jaws style.
Yeah.
And anyway, so uh great save by Charlie on one side and just a furious action, lots of shots. I thought one of them was a goal. Our guy gets shoved into the post. The post goes off, which sets off fireworks. We're at 9:58 left in the third. And C4, if you're listening, you can feel free to jump back on to talk about the wrestling as well. I know that she's a big fan of that. And but I really loved all the whole card. I thought it was really interesting. But I do agree with you that maybe they should have done less matches. I obviously love the fact that it was the inaugural US championship for the women. I thought that was a really cool spot for them. Um, but I thought one of the biggest moments of the night wasn't even aired live, right? And just because they ran out of time, and so they
Yeah.
have to be like on social media afterwards, which I don't know if that was always the plan or if that was, it did seem like they ended at the time they were going to end it, but like it's kind of weird that the biggest twist happens off air of the event.
Bit spoiler alert, they did show that footage on Raw Monday night. They did show that footage. They didn't show the confrontation with KO and Triple H, but they did show what KO did to Cody after the matchup. They did show that.
Yeah,
So clearly it was planned that way and whatnot. So yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of wild to me that you have such a big event and then like such an important moment kind of the story is told after the fact, which is fine. But Champ, what were some of your thoughts on the Saturday Night Main Event?
I gotta agree with Sid. It was definitely a nostalgic feel to it. With the entrance way being so narrow and so close to the fans, it gave you that feel of like the 1980s and 1990s when they did Saturday Night's Main Event and stuff like that. It just gave it that feel. They didn't go with the like elaborate setup of the Titantron and everything like that. So they really took it back and really gave a lot of people who watched it in that era that feeling of holy crap, our childhood. This is our childhood growing up. And so it really felt good to like get that. The matches were fine. It just sucked that again they were marred because it was on NBC. Of course, NBC is a network broadcasting company channel, so of course they got to have sponsors and advertisers and stuff like that. So it's a lot of commercials. So if I was just watching it just for the hell of it, not live reacting to it, I wouldn't have cared. But when you're on a stream live reacting to it and there's commercials so often, it's a lot of dead air. It's just me sitting there playing Xbox and Sif just sit up there saying random shit.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to live react to a network broadcast when there's so many commercials. It's easier when it's a pay-per-view or a premium live event where there are commercials for the WWE premium live events on Peacock, but they're so few and far between that we can still talk about what's going on. And then when there's a commercial, we talk about like say SmackDown the other night or Collision or Rampage or something like that. Or if there was a pay-per-view the night before, we could talk about that. If we didn't talk about on the podcast. So, that it's easier there. Here it was just a slog, but it was still really good. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the one in San Antonio in January. Whether we're going to live react to it or not, I'm still on the fence on that because again, it was just so it was it, that was a, the commercials just kind of killed me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy Saturday Night's Main Event.
So I agreed with something that you said actually during the thing that you liked it when they're doing the picture in picture. And I feel like that could have been a good solution for a compressed event that just have not maybe all of them be picture in picture, but more, right? Like, yeah, to the point where like you can still have the action going and they can still get the advertising in there. I think would have
Yeah.
really been a good in between option. I know C4 didn't get to catch the whole show, but I wanted to get her thoughts on it as well. C4, what were your thoughts on the Saturday night main event? Oh, you're muted. Uh, wait, that's weird. You're still muted. Hmm, maybe it's not plugged in.
Better?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Hey, turn up volume on things. It works.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So what were you saying?
I said, no, I didn't catch all of it. I was kind of glad it's back. I used to have fun watching it when I was a kid. I caught like the very last match, which was Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, and I mean, it was fun, but I have mixed feelings about it because Kevin had that one if he hadn't accidentally on purpose thrown the ref in Cody's way.
I like that. Accidentally on purpose. Like I
Yeah.
like I like
Two of
that.
them, not just one, two.
I know. I love that bit though, where the multiple refs go flying. So I thought that was entertaining for sure. And then obviously the chair that he didn't even bring up, right? I think
Mm.
KO brought the chair that.
KO brought the chair up.
Yeah, so he only has himself to blame both for the official going flying and the chair being there. But it's enough of obviously ammo for him to think that it wasn't fair. And there was a five count,
Yeah.
that was just not called, right?
I think it
Yeah,
was like eight.
yeah, exactly. So it was an interesting step for sure. The Capitals are on a power play after our friend Tom Wilson was tripped. Um,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, the Stars penalty kill, man, are they good.
They are insanely good.
Yeah,
I
it's
swear to
crazy.
God, the Caps are blinded by those jerseys, though, man.
Yeah. The Caps and the Stars both have two of the best penalty kills in the league. So it's interesting to see them in a matchup against each other. It's in
Yeah.
7:36 left in the third, about 28 seconds left in the power play. The Caps are out shooting them 24-22 in that. But I agree. I like the old feel of it. I really like the triple threat match. I know you didn't get to see that one, C4, but I thought that was a
Mhm.
really an interesting matchup for sure. And I have to give them a lot of credit. I was talking about this on social media. The ring general and his ability to pick up Damian Priest from a bad spot and be able to readjust,
Yeah.
throw him down correctly. Um, it's underrated. And it's so important. People that don't know a lot about wrestling don't realize that most of the sport is actually trying to protect the other person and them doing these
Mhm.
crazy acrobatics off each other, right? And so the biggest part isn't landing and winning, it's really selling it and but also protecting the other person, right? And so
Yeah.
I thought he did an incredible job there because he really could have broken his ankle or worse in that situation, depending on how he landed. And so props to him for that. Champ, what were some of your thoughts on the triple threat match?
The triple threat match was fun. It was cool. You kind of felt that Walter, aka Gunther, was going to retain. He's um any championship that he's held, he usually holds it for a pretty lengthy period of time. So I don't see that championship coming off of him anytime soon. But it was really good to have the elements of Damian Priest still having that beef with the Judgment Day, Finn Balor trying to, play off the fact that, hey, I was the one that helped you win that championship, Gunther. So I deserve a shot. And then having all those elements in there really worked. And so I think it all worked out for the better. And it ended with, of course, uh, Finn being the one that got pinned. So that keeps Damian sort of in the line sight of that championship while still maybe having those issues with the Judgment Day at the same time because hey, it's like, hey, Finn, you're the one that got pinned, so I didn't win the championship because of you. So a lot of
Yeah.
different storylines can come out of that result there. So I think the match did its job to continue things at least going into WrestleMania, not well WrestleMania season, but more importantly Royal Rumble season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that annoys me the most about the Judgment Day right now is they seem to not want to take on people one on one. It's like they're, Liv and Rhea are doing their thing, and all of a sudden everybody else comes in and takes over. It's like it just drives me absolutely bonkers that they've been doing that. That storyline is just driving me crazy.
I think that will still come. I think that people wanted a break from the Liv versus Rhea Ripley,
Oh,
storyline.
it's coming. It's coming for sure. Right
What's
now, I think
coming
it's
back?
what is it? Live and Io Sky. I think I don't know what happened tonight because I'm recording Raw because I'm watching the hockey game. But
I watched it. I know what's happening. I'm not gonna say anything, but just know.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I did see something on Facebook about with Rhea and Io, and that's all I'll say for now because until I see it, I don't have context, so
Yeah. Oh, the Capitals are on the doorstep, but they just can't convert here.
they've
5:50 left.
got to stay and get in front of the net. There's nobody in front of the net.
I know. We got another icing here, another offensive faceoff draw.
Uh,
So the Caps have got an opportunity here. See, they're doing the pitcher-in-pitcher commercial.
we need
Anyway,
some cake for all that icing.
um, no, it's good though. It's a good icing. So I will, got to keep putting the pressure on them if we want to tie this game up here. Um, but with that, we can start to wind down Champ and Seth. And Champ, do you have any? Well, I'll let Seth go first. Seth, what are you doing in the basement this week?
No basement until January the 5th, where we're revisiting my childhood and my teen years with the top 20 films from that era. So you figure from Star Wars 1977 through 1993.
Nice.
A
Nice.
nice little spectrum there on TikTok, True Dan 74. Tomorrow, I'll have a brief, like 3 minute video on TikTok. The first episode of Dexter Original Sin. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the first 3 minutes because it kind of gives away what's going to happen to open up Resurrection, which will be later on next summer. But overall,
Dallas scored.
Yeah, I know.
damn.
It was
But
crazy as the score bot told me like a minute before any of us knew.
yeah,
Anyway,
but overall, I thought it was a decent episode for Original Sin, Dexter Original Sin. But much later on in February on TikTok, I'll do a full Dexter ranking and everything. I just want to get through the season first. But it's like, I saw the first episode on Friday on Paramount Plus, and I was just like, it's Showtime. And I'm like, not as bad as I thought it would be, but some things need to be worked out.
yeah, for sure. That's a bummer that they scored there. I hate this Dallas team. I hate all Dallas teams. It's a pretty universal,
Yeah.
which is ironic because my wife is from Texas, but
Yeah, I was about to say your wife is from that state. Jesus
yes,
Christ.
but I mean, to be fair, she's from like Corpus, which is more the Houston side of the state, right? Than the Dallas side. So, I mean, our Cowboys fans everywhere, unfortunately, in that state. But the other teams, I don't know. I guess there's some Dallas Stars fans that live in Corpus because it's the only hockey team in Texas, but it's not like a ton of hockey fans in Texas. It's very football dominated, but all right. In the other, speaking of football, we've got it's 20-6. Minnesota is up still, and 12-3. Unfortunately, Atlanta is still up. I know it's not unfortunate for Marcus, but it is for the Commanders fans in the room. Yeah, but I look forward to catching more of the basement in the new year. And Sith, it's been amazing. We've had you on, is it the last 5 weeks or 5 of the last 6 weeks? Either way, it's been a very regular occurrence, and I love to see you back on a regular basis, just like old time's sake. And so I appreciate you as always. I've done the Sith command, so you can definitely check out the link for the basement there. And I also put in all the show notes as well. Last week's podcast went up super late. In fact, it went up as we were going live for today. But it will be up on there as well. And Seth, I really appreciate you. Hopefully, we get some big wins over the next couple of weeks, and in the New Year's, we'll have you back to hopefully talk playoffs.
Uh, Hold on, let's say it Jim Moore's way. Playoffs, playoffs. What do you mean playoffs? No, I'm just kidding. And teaser, we're still doing this next season. I'll probably come in on Mondays as well. So
Nice. I appreciate that. And yeah, so we've got a lot of fun stuff we're talking about in the new year. Obviously, we'll talk about the NFL. Well, actually, the NFL regular season goes into 1 week further. So we'll recap the last week of the NFL regular season and do a playoff preview as our first game back, I believe. Is that right? Is that how
yep,
it will look? I think
on the
week
sixth.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we'll preview the wild card round, and then division, and then so we'll talk playoffs all the way through. We'll also talk obviously hockey, basketball, and but we didn't talk about the Wizards this week because shockingly, they did not win another game. I will give a shout out. I'm a big Hot Ones fan. And if you like the channel First We Feast on YouTube, there's a really cool Kyle Kuzma sighting on a Hot Wings thing where it's Hot Wings verse, where he versus his girlfriend of many years, a supermodel, in a Hot Wings eating contest,
Oh,
which
nice.
Oh,
entertaining over on YouTube. So that's the wizard shout out because he is a wizard, and so that's going to be my tie this week for them. But
There you go.
we'll talk about the Wizards if they win next in the new year as well. Then we're gearing up, obviously, for spring football as well. So
yeah.
it'll be a fun winter Sports on the Hill podcast starting. Uh,
Oh,
and did they score again or no?
no, we had
Oh,
a chance, but nobody was there to collect the rebound.
that's a bummer for sure. Um, so we will see. It's interesting because I'm trying to remember when the national championship for the NCAA is this year. Um, because usually it's the week that we come back, but it's not. It's delayed because now it's a multi-round playoff format. So it's not even until January 20th this year. So that'll be fun. Usually it's the first episode back, which is the 6th, but then 2 weeks later we're gonna have the simulcast show for the national championship. So that'll be interesting to see how this new playoff format works in college football this year. So that'll be something
Sure,
to
people still complain about it. Oh God, my team didn't get in. I'm
look.
sure that's going to happen.
Right. But at least more teams have a chance. And so, we'll see how it goes. I'll definitely give a recap of how it's going so far on the episode the 6th, and then we'll monitor that all the way up to the championship game as well. We've got an empty net, 2:20 left. We're down 2 goals, and they try to flick it in, but they are not successful. The Caps try to regroup here behind their own net. Man, just like they're good at the penalty kill, they're also good at the 6-on-5.
Hmm.
Can bring you back in for the last 2 minutes if you want. But Sid, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. And Champ, I'll let you give your final shout out for the No Spots podcast and anything else you want to shout out.
All right, so the
There's a penalty coming.
No Spots podcast is currently going to be on its winter break. We're going to be off for the next couple of weeks. We'll be back on January the 5th as well. We'll be talking about Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty with Sage. We're going to have our top 10 wrestling matches of 2024. So it's going to be a really big show when we return on January the 5th. But for now, the only other time you will hear from us will be on December the 28th. Live reactions to AEW World's End, which will be the final pay-per-view of 2024 for wrestling in general. So we'll be talking about that. But other than that, hope everybody has a great holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe. And again, we'll be back when we are back. But for now, thank you. Go Genyo. Sayonara.
Yes. Take care. Happy holidays, everyone.
Arrivederci.
We'll see ya.
Yes, sounds good. Yeah, I just did the
Easy.
command, so you can always follow True No Spots Pod on Twitch. And Champ, real quickly, what time do you guys usually record on that Sunday?
7 p.m. during the football season, and then we go an hour earlier when the football season ends.
Got it. All right, sounds good. So check them out. We'll both be back in the new year, that first weekend after the new year, the following Monday. And I look forward to breaking down all of the wrestling action, the football action over the next couple of weeks with you guys. Appreciate you as always for tuning in. And the Falcons are trying a 48-yard attempt right now. And it is good. And so they take a 15-3 lead with 13:26, which I know it's only a 12-point lead, but at this point it seems commanding in this game. The Vikings are up 26-6 in their game. That's 10-14 left in that one as well. Got an empty net here. And so it's 6-on-5, minute 28 left. So it doesn't look like we did take a penalty.
No, I saw the hand go up. Must have been may have been icing.
Got it. Oh, a great play down low that almost deflected in, but just goes wide. Uh,
Yeah.
and we keep it in on the cycle. Man, they are tenacious on defense. We got to the point. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not surprised we're losing this game, quite frankly, because we always have a hard time playing Dallas at home in their
yeah,
barn.
for sure. And
So,
Gil, if you want to come back for the final 63 seconds, you're welcome to. Um, uh,
oh, his hint scored again. Okay, girls.
But yeah, so it's an
Ugh.
empty net, minute 3 seconds left. It's not looking good here at the end of this game. But it was we just took a timeout here. So we'll see if we can bring Gil back in for that. I'm gonna change
Yeah,
our
there he is. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this game, but I mean, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad game for us. It was not none of those. I mean, there wasn't much that we could do with, you know, those goals. They were what they were. They weren't going to be easy to stop, I don't think.
Yeah, Dallas was stifling on their defensive side.
And
Right?
yeah, Dallas's defense was just tight. And yeah, we just couldn't find the lanes to shoot. I mean, there just really was nothing there. So, all things considered, I'm not particularly upset with this loss.
Yeah, I mean, and also we won
I,
10 road games in a row. I just want to shout us out, top
yeah,
12 all time in road win streak. It's crazy that five of those 12 have happened in the last, 5 to 7 years, which I thought was interesting.
right.
A lot of road wins here. Gil, do you want to take it away for the last 40 some odd seconds?
Yeah, Caps have the empty net. They just lost the zone, so it's Chikrin in the middle. He'll throw it in. Ottinger will partially roadblock. It doesn't matter. Dallas has it, and they clear again. They're going to say it's off a high stick, and the faceoff will be in the Dallas end. I think they're going to keep everybody back on. It's 31 seconds. Caps still have an empty net. The Dubois line's going to be out there.
I,
Let's be honest with ourselves. We're just hoping for a McNugget minute goal at this point.
yeah, I'm showing 31 seconds, so
Yeah, that's where we're at. So
okay.
face off with Strom assuming the position,
Been 13 for
and drop
24.
the puck. Misdraw.
13 for 24, though. That's a lot of draws for Mr. Dillon Strom.
And
Yeah.
Ben will be kicked out and replaced. Strom loses anyway. Dallas will not clear. Blocked along the boards.
Oh,
Another
shut up,
stoppage
Ben.
for a hand pass.
Yeah, you're definitely a few seconds. You're definitely about, yeah, 5 or 6 seconds ahead of me.
Yeah,
That's okay. It's
yeah, that's
fine.
fine. Yeah, there's nothing, I think.
There's nothing exciting anyway. I think this game is it's pretty much over.
So, Gil, what are your thoughts? Anything carry forward into tomorrow's game against Chicago? What
They
are your
shouldn't feel too down about this game. I did not like what happened on the third goal. They completely dropped everything. They misplayed that. Carlson was looking for somebody who wasn't there. Total miscommunication on their end.
Yeah.
And Dallas got to the puck first and made the most of their opportunity. Other than that, it's just amounted to one of those games where it just wasn't going to fall for the Caps. It just was not going to, it wasn't going to be, one of those games where the goals come easy. And this is going to happen. You're going to have games like this. And the
Hmm.
trick is when you have games like this to learn from it and bounce back
I just feel bad
and
for Lindgren
go
because I thought
And
far.
played phenomenal, especially in the third period. Some really timely saves to keep it 2-1. And we had some opportunities at the net, and it just none of them went in. But I feel like if we had made it 2-2, it would have been a very different game there. And so it's just unfortunate.
And you definitely
Yeah,
can't hang this on goaltending. It's not
absolutely
that's
not.
not why they lost.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And Adrian said it was nice away game winning streak while it lasted. It's true. 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I mean, sometimes, this many games in, you wouldn't get 10 road wins, no less in a row, so like they've had yeah, I'm excited to see that they get to rebound tomorrow almost in some ways and see how they do. And
They
uh,
have been a lot better this year at rebounding after a loss. And this, like we all said, this was not a bad loss. This wasn't like we got blown out of the water, 50 shots to 30 or something ridiculous, or 30 shots to 10. I mean, it was 26 to 24 shots on goal. We had 26, they had 24. Yeah, okay, they scored on one of the two power plays they had. Their face-off percentage was slightly better than ours, 52 to 47. But on paper, this was not a bad game. And
we're gonna have losses. It's gonna,
we're
Yeah.
gonna have losses. It's the nature of the game. You're
but
not
it's
gonna
better
win
against
82 games in a season. It's just not gonna happen.
right. It's better against a Western team, and
Yes.
so there's some bright spots. Although and we'd already beaten Dallas in Washington, so that that they
Right.
really kind of circled this revenge game, right? So they were
Yeah.
up for it in a different way.
So, I mean, unless we meet up with them in the Stanley Cup finals, we're done with them for the year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, games
but
were pretty exciting, so I would be
yeah,
okay.
both games were. I mean, it was a 3-2 win in Washington and a 3-1 win here. So, excuse me. So I have no complaints. I mean, sorry. Hold on.
You're fine. Gil, while C4 is doing that, why don't you let people know what happened on the Power Play Point podcast this week?
So I got a somewhat healthy C4 on off the bench to come off the bench for this rendition.
Well, she was healthy. She just had no voice because she was screaming at kids at a track meet all night on Friday.
um, and we went over the two games, and one of which I attended, of course. And there was a certain something that happened at the game that I attended that I go on a rant about that involved a potential injury and some officials' incompetence. You want more? You'll have to download and listen to the latest episode. But yeah, we go over that and a little bit of a preview and a quick reminder of the couple of worthwhile causes. One high profile, one not so high profile, to look into this holiday season. So that one's out now, available. If you're not a regular downloader slash subscriber, please be a part of our team, part of our loyal listener group. We use all the listeners we can get. There's a good number of Caps podcasts out there. I think we're worthy of being one of them. So if you listen to us and like us, you know, download, subscribe, tell a Caps fan you like or love or even sort of like about us, and hopefully they'll become a part of us too. But yeah, spread the word, and we'll be back at it next week.
Yeah, so definitely while we are away over the next couple of weeks, Gil and Anna will continue, or C4 or whoever is in the mix that week. And so they can keep you up to date over the next 2 weeks while we are away. And then obviously we'll be back in the new year doing this show again. And Janaea wanted to be on this show today, but if people don't know, my heart's with her. There was a plumbing accident above her
Oh
where
my
these
God.
people
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
rigged system and they basically dumped water into her building, destroyed her master bedroom, and the this is in Canada, and the The
Of course,
building she's with won't pay her anything, won't help her at all. They said it's all this guy's fault. Her insurance won't cover it because they say it's all negligence on this guy. So she now has to sue him for all of the money. And if she wants it to happen soon, she's got to do it out of her own pocket. And then hopefully, if the person has insurance, get recouped for it. So my heart is with her. I mean, it's just so I totally understand her not coming on tonight. But anyway, I hope that in the next couple of weeks she gets some things figured out. She's very fortunate to live in a 2 bedroom, and so she can stay in her guest room while they try to figure things out. But just absolutely, but makes me so angry for the property management, makes me so angry for the person
yeah.
with cares.
The rules are so different up there, it
Yeah,
seems.
yeah, that's brutal. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out because I know that she really wanted to come on this week.
Yeah.
And welcome on in, Dreaming Truth. You're just in time. We're actually about to raid out. So I'm trying to figure out where we want to raid today. And so I'm just taking a quick look here. But I really appreciate both of you guys for joining in on this podcast. And it's been a fun one. Unfortunately, it's like the opposite of a couple weeks ago where we had all losses to talk about and we had a win on the show to sort of salvage it, right? We had all wins to talk about and we ended on a slightly negative note, but still very impressed with how the last couple of months have gone for the Capitals. And I'm excited for the new year, and hopefully we'll get some wins while I'm out of town. I get to watch some of those games, hopefully, with my dad, which will always be fun, and with my son. And I'm just trying to decide here who we want to visit. A lot of cool people on. And so I'm just trying to figure out who is the best for our part of me wants to go like visit an Eagles fan just to talk shit week of, but maybe I won't do that. I saw an Eagles fan podcast was on. Let's go over to a place I don't think we've ever gone before. A friend of mine is playing Hogwarts Legacy. And so oh, wait, no, that's not who I thought it was. I know who we're gonna go. I like science and technology, and there's this guy who does this incredible podcast. He's actually a Twitch ambassador and a friend of the show. We're gonna go visit him. I never get to rate him, so we're gonna do that. His name is Science Streams. He is a scientist who studies insects
Oh,
and
cool.
is grown and popular to the point where Twitch has recognized him, and he's now the representative for all science on this platform. And I think that's a really
Nice.
cool thing. And so him and his wife are both scientists. And Tina said, I wore my Caps hoodie today. Boo, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Um, and so raid and sub raid, if you want to do that. Again, who is let me do science stream. So people don't know. Is a Twitch ambassador, a scientist by day, science communicators also by day, working on projects to engage and support our community. So I thought that would be kind of fun, a little bit different than we normally get to go to. But for anybody that's still watching us on Twitch. Again, 15-3 in that Falcons game. They've kind of have that under wraps. Still about 10 minutes left, and 27-6 in the Minnesota Vikings game. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been an incredible 2024 on Sports on the Hill podcast. An incredible fall season. Thank you guys again for all the love on the birthday show last week. And look forward to the new year where we'll talk about hopefully the Commanders in the playoffs, the Caps, maybe even the Wizards if they can win a game, and much more. And thank you, C4. Thank you, Gil. And we'll see you guys
You're
in
welcome.
the new year.
Yep.
Pleasure.
Yep.
See you then.
Yep. Enjoy your holidays.
All right.